Well, g'day everyone and welcome back to the channel. Alright, here we are with the giveaway knives, and this is after the tempering process. So, first of all, I want to take the carbon off the face of the steel. So just grinding it nice and flat on the platen just helps to get any crookedness out of it. Using the plate quench helps me to get it reasonably straight. But it won't be perfectly straight. Grinding it against a nice flat platen helps me to get it to that perfect straightness that I'm after. As you can see, dipping it in the water there when it gets too hot, just so I can keep it cool. I want to keep that temperature underneath the tempering temperature so it doesn't take any more strength out of the steel. So this will happen with each of the knives. This one is Paulla's little potato knife. So just keep going back to the belt and checking it and seeing whereabouts it's at. And then we go and just clean the edges up. Just want to, again, just take the carbon off the edges there. Okay, next we want to mark the center lines, and this is Chrissy's Santoku knife. So just using some text that I marked down for the edge of the blade. Then we have Renee's chef's knife. I just do that with all the knives, just mark down where the center of the blade's going to be with the texter, and that way I can scribe some lines. Okay, on the scribing jig with Shane's little skinning knife, just drawing the edge of it against the tip of that jig, just to mark a scratch line on there. Flip it over and do the other side. That'll give me a set of railway tracks marks that I can work to, so when I'm grinding I know where I'm grinding down towards the centre, and we'll just keep going on with all the other blades. Okay, now with Paulla's and Shane's knives, which both have straight sides and flat bevels on them, I'm just going to come back and work them up through the grits and get to the finished grind on the flats. So this is running at 240. Okay, and we're just going to finish at the 400 for the flats. After they have had the maker's mark on them, I'll take them back and use a 600 grit cork belt just to polish them, but we'll just finish at the 400 at this stage. Okay, swapping back to a 40 grit belt and putting the table on, making sure it's all nice and square. Next we're going to cut those simple straight-sided bevels. Okay, the next part for the straight-sided knives is to set them up in a beveling jig. This one I got from Creative Man, who's just changed his name to Nordic Edge. It's down here in Australia. Lovely little jig. Much better than the old one I had. It's not as rattly as the one I got from Poland. So really happy with this one. As you can see, we're reasonably straight along for the blade. So once we've got that flat in there, just want to tighten everything up. Now to clamp it up, it comes with this little U-bracket with 2 little Allen bolts in it. I'm not a huge fan of that. I prefer just to use a pair of vice grips and just clamp it on with the vice grips. Now putting it in the right position would help, so we're just going to come down from above, and that's just going to hold it against that back plate of the jig. And now we're just going to go through the grits and just work that bevel into place. I'm not going to go into too much detail on it. I have got a previous video, beginner knife making, part 3, grinding the bevels, and that really goes into all the details in a bit of depth. Basically, we're going to start with a high grit belt in this case the 40, and we're just going to grind those bevels in and then just work it up again to the 400. There's the 240 grit. Just grind it through that one, just taking away the scratches from the previous grind. And lastly, our 400 grit, which is where we're finishing the grinding off until we've got the maker's mark put on it. And there you can see the finished product, all nice and shiny, all looking good, ready to go across for maker's mark on that one. With the chef's knife, it's a lot more up close and personal. It's all hand grinding. I can't do it on a bevel jig. I've got to have my fingers right there at the belt. The good thing about having your fingers on it is you can feel the heat, so you know exactly when it needs to be dipped in the bucket to cool it off. Normally 1 or 2 passes, depends on how sharp your belt is. But yeah, it's got to be right there at the belt because I'm trying to do a twist in the bevel to set it up for the convex bevel that's going to be on the blade. Okay, here on Renee's knife, you can see what I mean about the twist in the bevel. You can see it's a lot smaller at the heel end of the knife and a lot broader at the tip of the knife. So we're just trying to work it away. As you can see, there's a little bit of run over there. That's fine, that will buff out as I do the other grits. And here is the other side of it. As you can see, we want it to match up. So we want to have the same distance on both sides. And that just keeps the blade nice and symmetrical. Okay, here we are with Paulla's knife. As you can tell by that extra little hole, we're up on the top of the grinder on the slack of the belt. And now I'm putting the convex shape on it. So I'm using a 60 grit belt for this one and just grinding in the convex. And I will go into a bit more detail on how to do this on Rick's knife. That one's going to be more of a how-to than what I'm showing you guys with this one. Okay, looking there, you can see how we're getting that convex shape to it. You can see how there's still some scratches running the other direction, left from the 40 grit. Now I've got to be careful cleaning those off because I want to keep it as flat as possible at that handle section. So just very light pressure for that bit. And here we go, all scratches going in one direction. Nice, bright, beautiful convex edge on it. Fantastic. So we're just working our way up through the grits of belts again. I've done the 60, which I initially put the bevel on with, a 120, which is another orange belt. Now the 180, which is the blue belt, then a 240, which is a blue belt, and then a 400. And that is just working it up through the grinds, exactly the same as we've done with the other knives. There's a few more grits that I'm using just because of doing the concave profile. Alright folks, there we are, everything ground. As you can see, we've got Paulla's little potato peeling knife. Now I have changed the shape of that a little and given a little bit of kickback there. Just between the ricasso and the blade. I think that's just going to work a little bit better. Yeah, I still can't figure out how to peel by hand with a knife. We've got Shane's one, little skinner knife, nice simple little bevel on it. We've got Paulla's chef's knife, got Chrissy's chef's knife, Renee's chef's knife, and as you can see, they've got a nice concave bevel on them. It's not 100% flat here where the copper and brass attaches, but it's very close to it. And when I put the bolsters on, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in there. I mean, we're talking a couple of thou out of flat. So, and it's pretty good. That's the trouble with doing it this way. There's other methods you can do which doesn't actually give you a true concave edge. But to get that true concave, you sort of get a little bit of curve here. All right, thank you very much everyone for watching, and bye for now.